Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode. Tricia, how you doing?
I'm doing very well this fine, sunny spring day. The snowpocalypse is no more, and I've thawed out and warmed up, so I'm feeling good. How's it going over there?
Pretty good. It's the weather is starting to look up, and we also have a much clearer idea of when we're going to be coming out of lockdown.
Oh,
So
yeah?
various things in place. I mean, I think that they're sort of tentative measures. They're not set in stone. But I
Hmm.
think we're looking like I want to say the 21st of June to be it's all over, all done, and we're back to normal. So yeah, that's not far, not far away,
Mm-mm.
not long to go at all. Like we're recording this kind of the beginning to middle of March. So yeah, a
Hmm.
few months, 3.5 months maybe left of this. And who knows? As soon as these measures start to get relaxed, maybe we suddenly go back into lockdown. We've had 3 lockdowns now. Maybe we'll go into our fourth, but hopefully not. More and more of the country are being vaccinated, and the numbers of people being admitted to hospital are going down. So things are starting to look up, and I'm excited for yeah, the summer, better weather, and potentially going away, having some adventures.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, did they come up with the June 21st number because they know, okay, everybody's going to be vaccinated by then, or like the majority of people are going to be vaccinated by then? Like, how'd they come up with that number?
Good question. I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think the government really knows. I think they've just set this date as to try to help the public out, who are, I think, probably feeling a little bit rubbish right now, and
Hmm.
just want this all to be over. But yeah, it could be to do with the number of people being vaccinated, and I think we're well on track. I want to say, I don't know now, but maybe 20 million people have been vaccinated. That sounds about right, but I'm not really keeping up to date with the news too much. There's way too much toxic news at the moment. We just had, I mean, you probably just had it
Agree.
over there, right? You've had the Meghan and
Oh,
Harry
yes.
interview, and there's so much ridiculous talk on social media that I just don't want to be part of it. I don't want to read Twitter. I don't want to read ridiculous comments on online forums. Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into the whole Harry and Meghan thing. In my opinion, though, I'd quite like them just to live their own life, and it's nothing to do with me. It shouldn't be to do with anybody else. And if you've got so many things to say about them, like maybe just have a look at your own life and think why have you got an opinion on this? Because really, they're just two people with a baby who are trying to live their life, right?
Yeah, I don't care. No offense, but I just don't care. But one thing I did
It's no
see,
offense taken.
thank you. I saw your countryman Piers Morgan,
Oh, please.
and he was going crazy, which is why I saw it because it was just kind of to have a laugh. But I mean, he was really just not having it. He was highly offended, I reckon. And I was like, wow, that is a deeply passionate man.
I mean, that's one word for it.
um,
It's one way to describe him.
it was very, I could tell that on your side of the pond, people seem to be shook about this whole thing. And yeah, again,
See,
I'm going to go back to my previous remark. I could care less. I don't care.
yeah. I mean, we'll draw a line under it in a moment, but in terms of like, yeah, I'm interested to hear like how it is being played out on the other side of the pond,
Hmm.
because I think that it's quite polarizing. I think that there are some
Hmm.
people that are like pro Meghan and Harry, and there are some that are like, they're sort of more pro the Queen and pro the
Hmm.
institution and the royal family and all of that.
Royalist, I believe they're called.
Yeah.
I heard that
And
on Piers Morgan.
yeah, let's draw a line under it. I think that yeah, I don't want to mention Piers Morgan's name anymore on this podcast. I don't want to give him any time or
No free
any
advertising.
airtime.
We got to
Yeah,
send him a bill.
let's move on. So yeah, Trisha, what's been going on with you? Got any poker related news for us?
Well, I'll tell you what. Yesterday was International Women's Day,
Of course.
And I don't know if you saw this, but our publisher put it out on the Twitter that in honor of International Women's Day, they were giving away quite a number. The number was 5 of our book, Purposeful Practice for Poker. So I thought, hey, that's really cool. So I posted it in my Facebook group. So if you want to go to the Poker Mindset Mastery Lab to never miss a thing, that is the name of the group. I posted in your group too. So if you want to tell people what that group is.
Yeah, you can join my Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/poker profits. So it's a slightly change of name and change of URL. The link's going to be in the description of the video if you're watching the video, or in the podcast in the show notes as well.
Yeah, but anyway, that's a good way not to miss anything, right? So I posted over there, posted on the Twitter, So anyway, hopefully some of our dear listeners were winners. I didn't have anything to do with it. The publisher, of course, was doing the drawing and will, contact people. Of course, by the time this podcast comes out, everyone will have been contacted and probably even have the book by then. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. And I think I actually meant, and I didn't do it in the end, and I don't know why. I think I just ran out of time yesterday. Yesterday was a crazy day. I had coaching and a webinar and was putting content together. But I really wanted to put out a tweet along the lines of, as the sort of the only recognized, celebrated female poker mindset coach in the industry. I mean, I don't know any others. Though, I'm sure there could be others that exist.
Might be.
And I can't say that you are the only one, but the only one that is that I'm aware of, and is. I was going to say someone else then, but just to see your reaction. But no, of course, is you. So I think. I had intended to do that, but sadly just ran out of time. But I'm telling you now, Tricia, that everyone on the podcast now can hear this. That's how I feel about you and your position in the poker industry.
Well, I do appreciate that, and I'm really excited about being the leading female poker mindset coach. I could say that, right?
I think so.
Award winning, because I gave myself an award. I actually think that's what a lot of these people do, when they say, oh, I'm an award-winning, whatever financial planner or whatever, right? Like, I think they give themselves an award. So yeah, we should do that. But yeah, it's exciting to be able to bring mindset training and education that's based in the scientific method and not just woo-woo stuff, because there is so much of that. And I do even see people offering, mindset type courses and things. And I'm like, what could they possibly be saying in there? Because they're not really trained. And so that's, a whole nother issue. But yeah, it's really exciting. And, poker, even though we've been on this drought, for live poker particularly, and haven't been able to play and all that sort of thing, I really feel like poker is going to come back stronger than ever when all this is lifted. So I think it's exciting times. What do you think?
I agree. And I think more and more states seem to be legalizing online poker as well. I want to say that I just got there's a new member of my group coaching program, and he plays on PokerStars in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So that must be new. I thought before it was just maybe I want to say New Jersey or somewhere like that.
Yeah,
and
that was
I think there are other states as well now.
Yeah, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure Michigan is coming online. They may already be online, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I think you're going to see more of that. And of course, once live, really opens back up, there are some live things going on right now. Card rooms. At least in Texas, they are giving action. I haven't gone to them myself, but I have quite a few of them in the Austin area where I live, and they are open for business. And apparently our governor said, I guess it was last week, no more masks required. Like, it wouldn't be a state mandate, right? But then there's been a lot of controversy over that, because a very small percentage of our population in this state is vaccinated. And I mean, it is a small number. It's less than 10% as far as I know right now. But anyway, So the card rooms, at least one of the big card rooms, the Texas Card House, they sent emails saying that they were still going to require the patrons to wear masks. So I don't know how much they enforce it or anything because, like I said, I haven't been there to play. But I know there's a WPT live event that's going on right now. And the last I saw, James Carroll was the chip leader. So by the time this comes out, we'll know if he won it or not. But
Hmm.
right now, we don't know. We just know he's got a pile of chips. Um, so, things are going. But I think once it's widely available, we're all just ready, right? Like, let's go.
Yeah, so let's talk about the World Series. World Series,
Ooh,
yes
let's
or
do
no?
it.
Does it go ahead in 2021?
I don't know the answer to this, but I'm hedging towards yes in some format. Maybe not the whole thing, but I think yes.
So I think that either they'll do another online version
Hmm.
and they'll do one on WSOP and one on GG again, and or they'll push the real deal, the real McCoy, the real thing to later in the year, which
That'd be nice,
I think would be
right?
ideal. Like going to Vegas in like October, November time. Like,
Oh
oh, that'd
yeah,
be
because
amazing.
isn't it horrid when we're there in June and July? It's so hot. And I know everyone's
Yeah.
like, it's a dry heat. And I'm like, yeah, it's like putting my head in the oven. It's like that kind of dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like it just hits you so hard. So, yeah, I think it would be lovely to go there more like you said, October or November. And we could do
Yeah.
like some nice hiking because I'm sorry, when I'm there and it's 125 degrees, I am not hiking. I know the last time, or maybe it wasn't the last time, but the trip before, you did some outdoorsy stuff, right?
Yeah,
You
I
did the
mean
water balloon thing
we
and you,
did yeah, the hot air balloon, but we met at super early,
mm.
super silly o'clock, and it was still already like ridiculously hot, especially for me coming from the UK when we have 3 days of sun a year, and but yeah, I think it's I went up to Red Rock last time I was there, 2019, obviously because last year I wasn't there, it wasn't on.
Right.
So I went up to Red Rock, and I'd like to do a hike there, but in the summer, like it seems ridiculously hot, and maybe not even that sensible to go out during that kind of heat, you know. But yeah, no, I think it'd be good to have it in November. I have talked to people at the table in Vegas before about, would you come to a World Series, if it was in like the autumn, or like
Hmm.
later on in the year. And the thing is, the biggest sort of obstacle, I guess, is how it fits in with most recreational players' term times or like, work life.
Or
So like a
like
lot of
their families, right? Because if you've got
yeah,
kids, right, they
yeah,
would
that's
be
what I
in
mean about
school
term
in the
time,
autumn. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like people wouldn't be able to take the time off, or you know, I don't know if there's something that we can't take the time off at certain times of the year. I mean, maybe because of the, Q4 sales or targets or whatever, they need to hit them, so no one can take as much time off there. I don't know how it would work. So yeah, it seems like the summer's the only time, but it seems I feel like you could have a much better experience, like with everything, like poker and then adventure and activities and all of that, if you just it was a bit cooler. So we went
Yeah.
in like November, December time would be good, I think.
I don't know if you saw this, but I thought it was kind of interesting. The Venetian got sold.
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
The Sands Corporation, I guess. So it's like the Venetian and the Convention Center and like a couple other things. But so Sheldon Adelson died, what,
hmm,
like a month ago or something?
yeah, it wasn't
Fairly
long.
recent.
Yeah.
And boom, they're like, sell it all.
Wow.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, you reckon the Venetian's probably going to stay the Venetian and it's just a different company that owns it? Or I reckon they could do anything they want with it, right?
Yeah, I feel like the Venetian is quite a like it has to stay the Venetian. It has obviously the the gondolas and the sort of
The
the
name recognition and
yeah,
everything.
exactly, and it's the gold yeah, the walkway from reception up to the casino is kind of goldy.
I
And
was just kind of thinking, what about the Venetian Deepstacks? Would they do anything with that, with the new company,
I think they would just continue to call them the Venetian
purchasing it?
Deepstacks. And yeah, I think the Venetian has a certain pull for,
Yeah.
there are always tournaments there, and maybe they'll even get more players coming in to play tournaments. I think there are, again, at the table, I've had discussions with people in Vegas saying, oh, no, I don't go to the Venetian, Sheldon Adelson, like, I'll just, steer clear. I do think it's like somewhat difficult to talk about the Venetian and Sheldon Adelson, and,
Right.
Because he's died, and I really don't want to, go, like, I think there was some, like, celebration within the industry of like, yes, he's not gonna challenge, he's not gonna fight against online poker anymore, so it's going to be easy, and suddenly potentially we're going to get online poker back properly in the United States. Now, I think that's amazing if that is the case, but to talk about it on the back of someone dying it just feels a bit wrong to me. So
Yeah.
I would like there's obviously to have the discussion at some point. Maybe we let the dust settle a bit on that. We'll come back and talk about that. But we talked about it earlier on about how certain states are getting online poker. I think it would be amazing if suddenly they were playing against each other in the states, and then eventually we would get to play you guys, because obviously as Europeans we definitely want to play against Americans. How do you feel about that, Tricia?
I'd say bring it on.
Okay, well, you've been in the lab, have you? You've
I'll
been working
throw
on
down.
your game.
I'll throw down. Bring it on. Anytime, any place.
Okay.
I feel like, I can remember years ago playing against the Euros, and, even back then it was like a different, vibe, right? It's like, I'm European, I'm badass. Oh, yeah, you know what I mean? It was just like, there was a time in which, you had the Americans running the show, and then, the Europeans came on, and they brought a very laggy style with them, right? And it's like, well, whatever, you wanna four bet all in from the big blind with your queen six offsuit, do it. I did have that situation where a Euro did that. I'm like, hey, go for it, buddy. But yeah. Anyway, it doesn't bother me, right? Like, that is the point of poker. The point of poker is to take what is given to you at the table and figure out ways that you can exploit it, utilize it to your own benefit. And I actually really enjoy that aspect of the game. So if, Fedor can be on my table for all I care. And I'm going to, figure out what can I do to Fedor. It might not be elegant. It might not be, to the outsider looking in, it might not look the smoothest what I choose to do. But, I'm going to be looking to figure out, what can I do about this? And so, yeah, I say bring it on.
Okay. Well,
how do you like that answer?
Tricia's throwing down the gauntlet for all European players.
Bring it, boys and girls.
Looking forward to this. I guess we should get into a question. What have you got for us today? I'll just make a quick, almost public service announcement, but not really. That this is not our official 100th episode, because it is episode 99. But this is the 100th episode that we've put out, because the Berkey episode was split into two. So it's kind of, we should start the celebrations now, and we'll obviously celebrate a bit more in our 100th episode. But this is the 100th episode that's being put out to the world. So that's pretty exciting for us. Also, the fact that it's our 100th episode that we're calling episode 99.
We're always trailblazing. Always. Okay, so I do have the question. Thank you for letting everyone know about our 100. And then we're going to have like the 100 plus, right? In the next go. But for 100 wannabe, I don't know, the kind of 100th episode. Here's the question I got, and it's from one of my group members, Asa. I think that's how you pronounce his name. So if it's not, let me know.
Sounds right.
Okay, perfect. He says he's got a question following on from our excellent response and feedback to the question about dealing with stress at work that we did a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
And he said it resonated with him, and he did a lot of reflecting. And then this is his question. What does it mean to be productive, and how can we create feelings of achievement and satisfaction that awards us the ability to relax and spend time doing things we enjoy for our own benefit? And then he went into a lot of background, which I'm just going to summarize. He has, a job, which sounds like it takes a lot of his time. He has a family. He's also doing university. So he's got the kids, he's got the mortgage, he's got the job. And basically, from what I could tell from the email, he's really stretched very thin. And the problem is that he has all these things that he has to do and big projects, and it feels like he doesn't get ahead on them. And also, he feels bad or wrong when he wants to take some time for himself, right? Because it feels like, oh, I need to be, teaching the kids, or I need to be doing my own online work or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So I thought, ooh, it was pretty juicy. There was a lot to, unpack there. And so I came up with several ideas, almost a mishmash, if you will. And I feel pretty confident that you'll have some things to chime in with this just because, you know, you have your own business, you have your girlfriend, you do play poker. So you're kind of in a similar situation. I mean, of course, you don't have the kids and the online school and all that, but still there are, some similarities. So I thought, ooh, just reading his, the long where he was telling me everything he does, I was like, whew, that feels stressful. I could totally see that. So I guess there were several avenues we could go down, but one, I would say stress kills productivity in general, because then you feel overwhelmed and, and all that stuff. And there's a gal out of Harvard named Teresa Amabile, and she's done some research about what makes us happy and feel good and satisfied. And what makes us feel happy and good and satisfied is not when we complete the task per se, like graduate from college or, get the job or whatever the thing is, but it's feeling like we're making progress along the way. And I feel like Asa's in a situation where it's hard to make what he sees as progress, right? Because I feel like he's probably putting out a little fire here and a little fire there, and right?
Mhm.
And it's difficult. So this is what I want him to think about. I want him to think about what can he realistically get done, each day, right? And on these tasks, I think it's important to go really small. Okay, because you want to be able to make progress going to what Amabile says. And you want to literally be able to, check some things off. Okay. And if you've got like a big task, like let's say he has to write a paper for school, and he writes the task, write paper for school. And I don't know how long that takes because it's been a while since I've been in school, thankfully. But I remember it took a while, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's better to go really granular on that. And maybe it's pick a topic for the paper would be one thing. And then maybe the next thing would be like, I don't know, I'm making up stuff, okay? So forgive me, but find 3 related articles on the topic. And then maybe the next thing is read 1 article, read 1, read 2, read 3. And then maybe the next thing would be like do an outline. But you see what I'm doing here. And then you can go, okay, I don't have very much time in the day, right? So maybe he has a little snatch of time here and a little snatch of time there. And he can say, okay, this is another point I want to make. You got to figure out how long the tasks take in general so that okay, like I have 10 minutes right now. I want to do a 10-minute task off that list. Or if I have 20 minutes, okay. And another thing that I have talked about before I can't remember if it was Positive Poker or Peak Poker Performance. Maybe it was even both. Who knows? But Pomodoros. And I know we've talked about it before on the show, where you set the timer, right? And you say, okay, I'm going to set the timer for different amounts of time. Some people say do it for 20 minutes. Some people say 25 minutes, whatever. Pick your time, okay? I'm going to set it for this amount of time. And if you don't have 20 minutes, okay, don't set it for 20 minutes. Okay, if you only have 10 minutes, you set it for 10 minutes. But in your time frame, you're only going to focus on the one task till you get it done. And then the timer's going to go off and you're going to take a short break, like 5 minutes. And then if you can do another Pomodoro. Okay. So I would say do those things. So keep a notepad so you know how long things take. Don't be too ambitious. Be checking them off. Go really granular. Okay. And that's all good. But then, Gareth, a lot of his question had to do with feeling guilty about relaxing. And it almost, I felt like maybe even feeling guilty about playing poker and having fun. So I was like, no, we cannot have that. Right?
Hmm.
Relaxation is key. You must have time to rest and relax. And we've talked about that a lot amongst ourselves, maybe like off the show.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say about that, Gareth?
Well,
Because I know you have words.
so first of all, the Pomodoro we actually wrote in our book as
Hmm.
well. I don't
Hmm.
know if it is in your other two books
It
as well.
is.
I can't remember.
I
But yeah,
know.
it's
So
definitely
many
in
words.
purposeful practice for poker. So, and
Hmm.
it's something that I do occasionally, and every time I do it, I'm like, why don't I just do it more?
Hmm.
Because you have a lot of distractions, I think,
Yes.
and there are some great things that you can install on your computer, like browser extensions and things that can prevent you from like accessing Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and stuff for like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or for longer if you feel you can do that. But really, you just want to want to build that discipline to be able to focus for 20 minutes. So if you're anything like me, I've got like loads of browsers open. I've got Pio on one screen. I've got some Poker Tracker on another. I've got browsers open. I've got Discord and all sorts of things going on. And I really struggle to get work done if I know that any of them are
Hmm.
open. So I literally just close everything that's open and just focus on the one thing that I'm working on. And I think that can be really useful. But yeah, to talk about the bit about feeling guilty, we talked about this in previous episodes, like
Hmm.
even recently, about feeling guilty for not doing whatever it is, whether it's spending time with your partner or playing poker or working on your business or working on your studies or doing your hobbies, whatever. Like, and whenever you're doing the other thing, you feel guilty for not doing the third thing or the whatever the next thing. So I think yeah, I think you talked about making sure that you make time for everything. I think that's really really good. I spent the last year, 2020. I spent I want to say the first 8 months of the year working every single day,
Mm.
and my girlfriend was like, "You just why don't you just come watch a film? Why don't you come and just like chill out for a bit?" And I'm like, "I just don't like it. I don't like just sitting and chilling out. Like I feel so guilty for not doing something, like whether I'm getting better at poker, whether I'm playing, whether I'm growing the business, whether I'm doing like something that I like, a hobby that's useful, like learning a language or learning a musical instrument, or something that's a little bit more requires a bit more like stimulation and brain effort, I guess. But I realized once I got to August, I was like, well, I'm just completely burnt out. Like I just
Yes.
I have nothing left. I don't want to play. I don't want to study. I don't want to grow the business. I don't want to do anything. I was just like, ugh, right? And so now I make sure that I have at least one whole day off every single week. I
Hmm.
think it's funny because when I was a teacher, or whenever before that I did other jobs. There's no way that I would work 7 days a week.
Mm-mm.
That's just absurd. So you do your Monday to Friday, and then you'd have Saturday and Sunday where you do things. You go out for dinner, you go out for drinks, you do some sort of activity. You might go and play golf or football, or do something. So I don't know what happens once you join the poker world, like why you suddenly feel like you've got to work 7 days a week. I wish there were 8 days in a week because then I could do that and then still have a day off. But yeah, I think if you can work in one day, and if two, then even better. But I think having a day off completely from everything is really really good. I still don't have like a proper day off. I'll end up doing like chores, like fixing things and doing the grocery shopping and things like that. So it's
Hmm.
not, but it's away from the office and it's away from the things that I would regularly do. And the great thing about that is you give your brain space to to do its thing. Right now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not trained in the brain at all. Okay, so bear with me. But I understand that the more sort of things that you learn and the things that you do, you basically need to give your brain time to absorb it. Like if you're
Yes.
just constantly learning stuff, what you'll find is you're actually not learning it because it's not sticking, it's not going in, and you need to give yourself some space. And the great thing that I find that when I have this day off is I'm so much more motivated the next day to get back on it. But I almost need to, like, I have these ideas throughout the day, all these things that just come to me, and I'm like, I need to do that, I need to do that. Before, when I was doing 7 days a week, working 7 days a week, I was like, right, all these ideas would come, and I would just do them straight away. Whereas now on that Friday, Friday's the day when I have a day off, or at least try to. is write things down so that I can tackle them the next day. And it's amazing once you give yourself time to relax, how many problems you can solve without even thinking about it. They always talk about, if you've got a problem to solve, just go for a walk or do a Sudoku or do something completely different to give
Mm-hmm.
your, get your brain to think about something else and let the subconscious do
Right.
its thing, right? Again, like I'm not an expert on this, but yeah, this is my idea. So that's what I try to do, and I think it's amazing how much happier, more productive, more efficient I am when it comes to everything, all the aspects of my life now. So definitely recommend having a day off, and making time to do something completely different is really important.
Yeah, I think you hit on several things. So to unpack some of it, it's the idea that if you want to consolidate learning, learning consolidation comes through sleep. So it's the old hippocampus. It's like in the back of your brain on the inside, obviously. It's
Thanks for
just
clarifying that.
you're welcome. Just in case anybody was confused. But yeah, that's where memory consolidation, or it's a big part of memory consolidation, and that all happens when you sleep. So if you skimp on sleep, then you're skimping on, your memory consolidation, which, as you pointed out, means that you don't really learn, right? It doesn't really stick with you. So there's that aspect of it. There's also the aspect of you have to manage your energy. There's a book, it's an older book, but still a good one. It's called The Powerful Engagement, and Jim Lauer and Tony Schwartz. Oh, it took me a minute there. I got to wake up the old hippocampus back there. But anyway, in their book, they talk a lot about how if you want to, achieve success or have elite performance and things like that, you really have to manage your energy. And how do you manage your energy? Well, you have to make sure that there is time for rest and relaxation. And if you don't get sleep, then of course you're going to be stressed out. You're going to be frustrated. It's going to be all the negative things. And even you use the word burnout, which in psychology is a little bit of a technical term, but I think it is a fair term to use here and a reasonable one. So these are all things you have to keep in mind. I think going back to the idea of prioritizing tasks, not picking too many, making them small, checking off what you can, but having a cutoff for the day, right?
Hmm.
Because, when you're working on a business, or if you, are working and you have school and blah, 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 right? Like really, you could be working all the time. You could never have a cutoff. And I really like that idea of closing the computer and being like, shut down complete, and that's it, right? So picking that time and saying, like, this is it. I mean, yeah, there might be, occasional times where you have to go beyond that for, like extenuating circumstances. But if you're doing that every single day, then you're not managing your energy. So you have to manage your energy, rest, relaxation, good diet, exercise, all that's like super important. And that's all the stuff that we just want to push that by the side, right? We're like, oh, I'm busy, so this has to go. And we put away all that stuff, and then it like really hurts us in the long run. I mean, I can remember when I was in graduate school, I worked multiple jobs. In fact, at one point, I had a full-time job, and so I'd work 7:30 to 4:30. Well, actually, not 4:30, more like 4, because then I would go to school from like 4:30 to 9:30 at night, and then I would drive. It was like 30 minutes to get home, so I wouldn't get home till 10 o'clock. Like, what was I insane? Yes, I was. Like, and it was all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. It's so much easier to do that stuff. I think, when you're like 22, I was like, "Ooh, look at me, I can do it all," right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I think once you start going like post 25, and
Yeah.
now I wouldn't even dream of doing things like that. I should be like, I don't even want to, because I know it's so important to have that balance.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it as well is especially when poker's involved, is that sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming once you
Hmm.
realize that there's quite a lot to learn.
Oh, so
So
much.
it doesn't seem like that at the start, but then the more that you learn, the more you realize there is still to learn, and I
Hmm.
think then it can become quite overwhelming. So I think patience is really important as well. And if you practice patience, like if you're just just realize, okay, this might take some time, and that's okay. I'm not going to go too crazy on this, And if you give yourself patience and time, then you'll enjoy the experience a lot more.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I don't think that we emphasize enough because we're always talking about, learn this, study that, and right? It's the
Hmm.
kind of thing that, what wasn't it Doyle Brunson that said it takes 5 minutes to learn, but a lifetime to master, something
Something
like
I
that.
think, yeah,
And we're
yeah,
always like, oh, shut up, Doyle. But no, Doyle is right. We
yeah.
say shut up, Doyle, because we don't want that to be true. We want it to be true that, we master it now, 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 but it's really not like that.
No, it's not. There's a good book by I think it's Robert Greene called Mastery,
Mm-hmm.
and I was reading it when we stayed together in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
2019 must have been, and it
Yep.
was a bit of a slog to be honest, but it's a really good book, and yeah, you got to be patient with that book for sure. But it's really really good. I definitely recommend it, and yeah, if you want to master something, it's a good book just to sort of understand what it takes to truly master something.
Well, you know how we've talked about the 10,000 hour rule, and there are people out there in the poker world who freak out when they hear that, 10,000 hours. And, maybe that's not even, the exact number, right? It could be less, could be more, whatever. But people hear a number like that and they just,
Mm.
some people like rise up to the challenge and they're like, yeah, I can't wait to put in my time and, like do that. But a lot of people have this instantaneous negative reaction because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'll never get there. Remember, to go back to Amabel's research, it's about making progress. That's where human satisfaction comes from. So it's little bits of progress over time. But I feel like, at least in the Western world, we want it all now and we want to go big or go home. Like, we even use these phrases, right? It doesn't seem very sexy to be like, oh, yeah, I put in my 20-minute study today and check that off. You know what I
No.
mean?
Hmm.
So we don't even acknowledge that doing, a little bit, like we just act like that's nothing, but it really is something.
Yeah, I feel like we could discuss this for another half an hour. We
Hmm.
could start talking about compound effect and all of
Yeah.
that. But I think we have to yeah to try to keep our episodes to a similar length
Hmm.
as we
Yeah.
as we have been doing, and maybe wrap things up there. But so much wisdom there, Tricia. I think our listeners will find that really really useful, and hopefully Asa does as well.
Yeah. And guys, don't be shy. If you have questions, comments, or ever present random thoughts, let us know and you might get a whole episode devoted to it. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. Right. Well, let's wrap things up there. Tricia, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Mhm.
And yeah, everyone else out there, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.